many people are talking about budget increase, but in my own angle, I'm trying to ask question, when will INEC budget start coming down? Because all the time, 2011, 2015, we see INEC buying vehicles, buying equipment. We don't hear anything about auction of these vehicles and equipment. We don't hear anything about upgrading. All the time we hear buying of new things. And that is the reason why most times we find out that the INEC budget is increasing day by day. Because if vehicles are used for a period of 6 months for election, I suppose the only thing is to park them or to auction them so that when next election after 4 years is coming, at least the INEC has generated revenue through auctioning of some parts of their equipment. But we don't see that. All the time we see buying of new things. That is my own part of argument here. And the second one, about registration of political parties, we have is trying to make the budget always go up, maybe budget proposals. And there are guidelines to which we have to follow to register political parties. I've seen so many people here in Abuja that they have registered political parties, and inside their briefcase. They don't even have office anywhere. And I imagine, how did INEC, the office that is supposed to certify that these people are eligible to even get registration, how did they get it? I've seen people that don't even have 1 million, they can't even rent an office. Today they are talking about that they have political parties. So I find it very difficult why the supervision that we do in registering parties is just so easy. So, Mr. Chairman, we have to look at it. We know that there is a law, there is an act, but you have to look at your staff. Who are the people? Because by my own little knowledge, I'm political party supposed to have about offices in 2/3. Okay, so maybe that one. Listen. So, we make it very, very easy. And if we are going to allow people to be registering, well, today we have 91 political parties, and we have about you said about 20-something online. So I think we have to sit down with the committee and find it so that it will be very difficult for a person to register political. Not that anybody can just come and just get a political party, and we make things difficult for the government.
Then logically you ask yourself, why do we pay a lot for election in this country? Much of the cost we pay for election is cost of lack of trust in the system, and the cost of behavior of actors outside the framework of the Electoral Commission. Why must we print ballot papers to currency quality, entrust ballot papers to the central bank, and the central bank delivers to locations with all the security accorded the movement of national currency? In France, the ballot paper is the size of an A4 piece of paper. Why are ballot boxes smashed? Why are officials attacked and in some cases killed? So there are certain steps that we take simply on account of that fact, lack of trust. Much of it is the cost of lack of trust in the system. Can the sale auctioning of vehicles, for instance, lead to any substantial income for the commission or the nation? I'm unsure of any nation in the world that makes a lot from selling obsolete items. I'm unsure. There are rules and regulations, and there are extant rules and regulations governing the sale of government properties and where you put the money to. The money is not retained by the commission, it's remitted to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Whatever you do, there are procedures. So the money goes straight to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And no money is spent out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund without appropriation by the National Assembly. The Constitution is very clear on that. So when are we going to start bringing the cost of election down? Until the time when election becomes a festival. Until the time when the actors who are interested in the vote stop inducing INEC staff and also stop all the processes that lead to the disruption of elections. And you know this better than I do, distinguished Senator. Election in this country should be like election elsewhere. a festival, but you know what it is. From party primaries. Each time election is conducted, we have to look for money to now replace lost items. Distinguished Senator Edoko talked about what happened in Kogi on Saturday. We also on television how many ballot boxes were smashed, voting cubicles. We have now to go and replace those voting cubicles. And that will add to the cost of running the elections. But no INEC official will disrupt an election. Who are interested in peaceful, credible outcome, but there are certain responsibilities way beyond the powers of the commission. And let me end up by just appealing to all of us sitting here, including the political actors, to ensure that we conduct credible elections by going by the rules. You talked about political party registration. I don't think, distinguished Senator, the blame should come to the commission. Look at the provisions of the Constitution. The criteria for registration of political parties is clearly spelled out in the Constitution. You don't need offices in 2/3 of the states. You only need membership of the National Executive Committee of the party to be drawn from 2/3 of the states. You need an office in the FCT. And by FCT, the law doesn't say Wuse or Gariki or Maitama or Asokoro. They can have an office in Gwagwalada is in the FCT. And you go and monitor. And then when you deregister political parties on the basis of the Electoral Act, they go to the court and they are re-registered on the basis of the Constitution. In fact, there were parties we deregistered. They went to court, secured favorable judgment, and they later taunted the commission by saying that you deregistered us under inferior law, the Electoral Act. But I'm happy that the National Assembly has now amended the Constitution to provide for for a greater leeway for the commission over the registration of political parties. But even why do you deregister political parties? They'll go back and re-register another party tomorrow. Because the criteria is clearly stated in the Constitution. In fact, the Electoral Act says that if an association writes INEC seeking registration as a political party, and they don't hear from INEC after 30 days, they are deemed to have been registered as political party. And many of them actually were registered by court order. But remember also, at a point in this country, citizens complained loudly that the political space must be opened up. Why should there be two political parties, one to the left, a little to the left, one a little to the right?